Hi everyone, my name is Danny, and for those that don't know me, I make all types of YouTube videos. And last year I think it was last year, I did a Halloween themed video, and it was pretty successful. So I just decided to do another Halloween themed video. It's just something different. So yeah, so the video is going to just have a little bit of variety, but everything will be Halloween themed. Um, okay, so it's good to get organized when you do these types of videos. So I wrote everything down, and I'm just gonna use my flashlight because I don't really like light. If you know what I mean. Okay. So the first thing maybe that I just wanted to talk about is just a few Halloween themed movies. Now, these two movies that I picked are not actual um, they're not actual Halloween movies like Friday the 13th or well, no, it wouldn't be Friday the 13th. Sorry, like for example, like any of the Halloween movies or anything like that, right? With Jamie Lee Curtis. These are just kind of like um, just normal movies where part of the movie is set in a Halloween setting, and it's interesting because when I was brainstorming movies that I've seen to pick for this category, I realized that um, I didn't really, I couldn't really almost think of any. And really, I think the reason because of that is that when you take a mainstream movie and you decide to include anything that's requiring Halloween, the problem with doing that is that Halloween is such a major theme. It's just such a major concept and component that it just basically takes it just takes it's just too much. It just takes up like so much of the movie that it would even just sort of change like the primary theme of the movie, right? Which is not about Halloween. So I think that's the reason why like there are so few like movies that incorporate anything with Halloween because it'll just change basically the whole kind of thesis or the whole plot of the movie, right? So um, one of them is the Karate Kid. Now, this the Karate Kid that I'm talking about was the one that was released in 1984, and actually, even though I just said that I haven't really watched that many kind of movies with um, a Halloween sort of scenes, if you will. The Halloween scenes in this movie, I think, even after all these years, were just really spectacular. Especially if you think of the time when the movie was made back in '84, where the technology was very, very minimal. Um, you know, I can remember, if you think back of that movie, it took place within a very small time period. Maybe it could have been maybe over a 2 week period, maybe a 3 week period, or maybe shorter. And it's not really a coincidence that they put Halloween right in the middle of that movie, right? So right from the beginning, where Danielle, he goes to that new school, and he doesn't know anybody in that high school, so he decides to, you know, um, go to the school Halloween party, right? Because he's trying to meet people, right? And he's trying to fit in, right? Which is a major concept of that movie. And then you know, he goes to Mr. Miyagi, and I think at the beginning, if I remember right, it's been a long time, right, since I've seen the movie, and then I think he said like either he wanted to bring Mr. Miyagi to the party or something like that, or no, I'm mistaken. I think that it was one of those nights where um, like it might have been that Friday or Saturday night. It might have been on that Halloween night, and Daniel said you want to hang out or something, and then Mr. Miyagi said, "Oh, you don't want to hang out with an old man like me. You want to hang around with someone younger." And then he talks about Mr. Miyagi says you have like a girlfriend or something, and then, but anyways, if I remember right, they were thinking about a Halloween costume for Daniel, and so I think it was Mr. Miyagi that came up with that idea of having him be put like a shower stall, right, with the curtain, um, the shower curtain around and stuff over the holder or whatever. And so it's kind of interesting because so he goes to that school party and all the Cobra Kai, like their uniforms are their Halloween costumes were just so spectacular, right? If I remember right, they were all skulls, right? And not only was the costume, like the body costume, perfect, but like with the skull bones and the black, also like the makeup too, like the white makeup and the black eyes, all of that. It just looks so cool. And that was sort of, um, and then like there was a scene where you know they were in the school hanging out, the Cobra Kai were hanging out in their costumes, and I can't remember. I never could figure out what Johnny was doing with some of the stuff that he was toying with. Me, I think they were kind of like bones or something, and he was playing with the bones, trying to set up the bones. But I could never really figure out really what he was doing. But it was kind of cool. And then that scene where Johnny decides to go into the bathroom, and his friend says, like let's go and hang out somewhere, and then Johnny goes in a minute. And so if I remember right, again, it's been a long time since I've seen this movie, and then Johnny goes into the bathroom, and I think that he takes a shot of, I think it's cocaine, maybe either cocaine dust, or maybe it was a marijuana joint. I think it was a cocaine dust and a cocaine sniff, and then you know um, uh, Daniel being creatively and sneakily, cleverly hidden in that shower thing, which was why they picked the shower thing, probably, right? And then he stuck the hose in him. Um, the hose was put, if I believe, over the stall, like into the toilet stall, and then it got him all wet, and then it sort of catalyzed, Johnny and all of his friends chasing him through that whole field, and it was just so kind of neat with the music and stuff. And then Daniel tried to climb over the fence, and then they started beating him up, and then Mr. Miyagi comes in and kicks all their asses, right? So yeah, so that was a pretty good. It was kind of short. Again, they wanted to keep it. Just they didn't want to take away from the main part of the movie, um, but it was still good. The last movie that I wanted to talk about was E.T. E.T., the extraterrestrial, the one made in 1982. Now, um, this one here, again, like, I haven't watched this movie in a very, very long time, but now that I think back of it, um, the the Halloween part of it was just so amazing, and it just fit in really with like all of the movie, really, in so many ways, right? So if I remember right, they're all going like Halloween trick or treating, and it was just so weird because that the movie was based in is it's like the actual like movie, not where it was really made, but kind of like, even though they never really said, like, you could tell it was sort of like California based, right? More in the valley of like California, or like in the valley of Los Angeles or stuff like that, in suburbs. And it's just so weird where, they're trick or treating and it's still like very sunlight out there, right? And the weather is just so perfect and stuff. And like the costumes that they all wore were just so like simple but yet so cool, with the ghost costumes and stuff. And if I remember right, that famous scene with Drew Barrymore, um, where Drew Barrymore is already like dressed up in a costume, and then ET's hidden in that closet, and then um, ET scares her, and then she screams, and it's kind of like that really was ET, but sort of the analogy is that he's sort of like an alien in a costume. And if I remember right too, they ended up bringing ET on the Halloween trick or treating, and they put some sort of like costume on top of ET. They took him Halloween trick or treating, but that was really those scenes were pretty neat, and it sort of fit in with all other parts of the movie, right? Like, meaning like, you know, um, ET was just so different that he could have been really known to be someone in a costume, yet he wasn't, right? But there were ways to have him fit in, right? So I just want to move on and say, I just wanted to, this is a YouTube channel, and um, I just wanted to maybe talk about some Halloween on YouTube. Um, um, well, what I'll just be honest, and one of my favorite YouTube channels in general are the Ireland Boys, right? So like, for those who don't know, like, they're two brothers based in Florida, USA, but they do like all types of really good videos, like not only prank videos, but they're very creative. But I found that like over the years watching their Halloween videos are always like one of my favorites. And so um, there's one where I'm sure that they did it at least once, if not twice, where they go into a place like a Target or something like that, and they sneak pumpkins into people's shopping carts. And that's always really funny, right? To see like people, just random people, random strangers, just shopping, and then have the Ireland Boys just go and just behind their backs eat pumpkins. And I think at some point they made a contest between the two brothers to see like who could put the most pumpkins, who could put the most pumpkins into the carts. And so it was kind of funny to see like reactions of, the customers, like, what are these pumpkins like doing in my cart? Or, or if they were caught doing it, like, why are you putting these pumpkins into my carts? They did another funny video recently, where they they go to Walmart, and they've always, this is one of their their staples, right? They go to Walmart, and then they do like the toilet paper forts, or the paper towel forts. But this one was Halloween themed, and so they did like you know uh, uh, they went to Walmart. They did the toilet paper fort, or the paper towel fort, but it was Halloween themed, and it was funny because inside, you could see like all of the the Halloween stuff, the small pumpkins, and the all the little replicas, and the stuff like that. And and then at some point they had a little bucket, like a little Halloween bucket full of treats, right? And people that were noticing, then inside the fort, they'd be like, hey, what's going on? And then the Ireland boys would say, trick or treat, right? And the ones that said treat, they would offer them the bucket full of treats. And it's funny because the ones that they showed in the video, they were all accepting the treat. They took the treat, and I think they ate them too, because usually, in my world, if you ask someone for if you offer food to someone, whether it's in any time of the year, or even like Halloween, like if they don't really know you, like they won't take it, let alone eat it. But they were taking it. And the treat part, if they asked for the treat part, and a lot of them um, were asking for the sorry, for the trick part. And he had this card trick where he could always like pull out the same card out of the deck that they picked, and he did that a few times. And so that was pretty a cool trick that he pulled off with at least two different people. So um, the other yeah so the other yeah so they're pretty cool YouTube channel. And the other YouTuber that's really good with doing Halloween videos is Jack Doherty. Well, like Jack Doherty and actually the Ireland boys, they work together a lot. But in general, I just, I'll be honest, I think like Jack Doherty's videos are just hilarious and good and creative. Is far, like, it's he's not everyone's cup of tea, but if you think of it, his videos, just a little more like in depth, there's just a lot of talent there. And so over the years, one of his really good Halloween videos is the ones that he does where he goes trick or treating before Halloween, right? So before it's actually Halloween, right? So he goes and trick or treats. He knocks on people's doors for treats, either like if you think of like Halloween, well, little kids go earlier, right? So like, maybe no, most people think of, you go to start knocking on people's doors maybe at around after supper, so maybe like 6 or 7. But little kids maybe would go like earlier, maybe at around 4 p.m. But he probably goes and starts knocking probably at around either like noon, or even morning, or even a day before. And it's always funny when he does that and goes early, to get the house owners' reactions, is like, you're early, right? And to see like whether they're actually going to give him like treats or not. It's just really funny. Um, the other one that he does that's really funny too is when he goes and he goes out on the streets, and he steals like he steals little kids treats, right? So it's kind of funny. Like there's these little kids that are walking around on the streets, and they got their buckets out, and he goes and he steals their treats. It's funny, it's comical. But I think after he tells them, and then he gives them it back plus more, right? um, and then there's um, there's definitely Nelk, right? Nelk, everyone knows Nelk. Nelk is really big, one of the biggest YouTube channels out there. So recently, Nelk did, although they're mainly a YouTube channel, they did they put this Halloween prank on their Instagram channel, and it's the one where Kyle. It's the one where Kyle he goes and he sticks his own two pumpkins in front of um, some stranger's house, and the two pumpkins were one of them was a White Lives Matter. One of them was a White Lives Matter pumpkin, and the other one was a Kanye West pumpkin. I don't know if it really looked like Kanye West or not, right? So, but anyway, so he knocks on the door, and this adult lady comes out, and then Kyle's like, "Oh well, you know, like I'm one of your neighbors, and I don't really um, appreciate, you know, you putting these offensive pumpkins out in the public in my neighborhood." And then she goes on her cell phone and calls her husband or something like that, and she's like, someone like put these two crazy pumpkins like, and then she's like, I'm going to call the police, I'm going to call my neighbor who's an FBI agent and stuff like that. And then like Kyle's kind of trolling her a little bit, and then she goes to call, and I think you're part of this. And it was really really funny. So you know, um, I didn't want to make this video any longer than it should be, so I'm just gonna wrap it up. And I just wanted um, everyone to have a good, a fun, and a safe Halloween, right? And and if you do come, um, you know, to trick or treat at if any of you do come to if any of you do come to trick or treat at my house, um, you know, just remember, as always, um, no garlic, um, no holy water, and definitely no shanks. So peace out. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of the fangs. These fangs are no bigger than the ones on a, say, German Shepherd or a Doberman. The fangs are sort of convenient for certain things, though, right? Especially if you get really hungry and you want to feed on something. The feeding is easy with fangs because it's not like you have to chew anything. You can get this, you can get the food in the very liquidy sort of form, if you know what I mean. But don't ever be scared of my fangs. And don't be scared of the red stuff that you see either, because to me it's just a requirement that I have to have. Happy Halloween.